of owning a cafe and other heroic deeds by Beware the Chistero. Chapter 77. Almighty Land, Part 1. He'd managed to artfully detach himself from the veritable puppy pile of his sleeping siblings and made his way into the nearest bathroom without preamble. Then, after a quick shower, he padded quietly to his room and got changed into the black linen trousers he'd picked up the other day with the new t-shirt the Bakugo family had purchased him. He'd forgo his morning run. Since they'd be out all afternoon at the theme park, he didn't think he'd need the exercise. And besides, now he could spend a few hours planning out their breakfasts, running a few taxes through the till, and doing a stock take ready for next week. He'd also be able to think about how he'd use the white truffle oil he'd been gifted by the Kaminaris, look for ways to apply the hot sauce Eijiro had bought for him, and make himself a cup of the Valhalla coffee the girls had so sweetly gift-wrapped for him. Then there was the jam and jelly maker. He'd have to have a play with it over the weekend so he could treat the tots and his teens, wouldn't he? To think that they'd gone to all that thought and trouble just because. Such good kids. And so with that plan in mind, he regarded the siblings he'd acquired. All were still resting, Tadeo and Takeo leaning against each other, Seiji mumbling adorably about Yamada said school, whilst Totoshi's toes twitched and Naoki snored a little louder. Dabi and Tomura, however, were exactly how he'd left them. He was beyond glad that he'd found them, that they'd found each other. By 6:30, he'd seen to the cats, let them loose within their enclosure, and now, his cooking had roused the brothers from their slumber. He greeted them as they shuffled downstairs, still in their pajamas, and had them follow him to the large study table, which he decked out with all manner of their favorite foods. "Oh, pulpit pancakes, I miss these!" Sitting at the end of the table, his hands grabbing for his chopsticks, Shouta watched as the younger males began to dig into their dishes, all of them in various states of wakefulness. Miso soup and kyoto can't compare to this. This is delicious!" Watching them all enjoy themselves, the cafe owner couldn't help his contented smile. "Do you still make your cat art bento show? I can remember selling them at school and making us all a little extra yen to spend on weekends, can't you guys?" Snickering, his next mouthful of rice swallowed, the oldest of the group hummed in the back of his throat. "All my bento seems to be the flavor of the month at the moment," he told them, Itoshi snickering around his onigiri whilst Dabi and Tomura finally rolled their eyes. "I made them long before I met the actual man himself. I thought he'd sue me for sure." Allowing the others to chuckle, he went back to eating, his hand gratefully accepting the plate of okonomiyaki the pro-hero in training ferried over to him via his branches. "You speaking of the big guy, you seem to have wrapped him quite nicely around your little finger. I saw him scamper after you yesterday like a puppy looking for treats, Aizawa. You sure you two haven't hooked up yet?" Laugh snorting into his coffee whilst everyone else at the table either sputtered, laughed, or choked on their food. Showed a cough to get his airways clear, his face heating. That strange feeling was in his chest again. Is it really so obvious?" he asked, his tone a little bewildered whilst he nodded at the young lovers tittering at him from the other side of the table. "I just thought these two lieutenants Tsugadame were pranking me." "My God, Sho, it's so obvious!" Tadeo sighed, those golden eyes narrowing at him from behind circular frames. "Even I can see it, and we all know that I'm nearly as dense as you are." "Ouch." He snickered, his right hand patting dramatically at where his heart was. "You know that I've never really well bothered with such things," he managed to get out. "And he's, well, all might, isn't he? I can think of hundreds of people better suited to court him than me. I mean, I'm just a small business owner from the backwaters of Tokyo, and—" "Oi!" the KO got in, all of them now frowning at him. "It's our big brother you're dissing," the younger stated grimly. "And I don't care if Blondie's the king of the world or something. He'd be lucky to have you in his lap, you get me?" Chuckling and nodding his understanding, Shouta raised his hands in surrender. "Okay, tough guy, I hear ya." He grinned. "But don't y'all think it's a little strange? He's famous the world over. Shouldn't he be off with another celebrity or a pro, perhaps?" He mused. "We're from completely different backgrounds, aren't we?" "Did you ever maybe stop to think that that was the point?" Seiji asked, those silver eyes considering as he sipped at his soup.
I'll be the first to admit that after the initial panic of seeing you slumped in his arms like a dead fish, I was kind of starstruck by him,"
he stated, a few of the others nodding.
"You don't know what it is to be starstruck by someone. You take them in for who they are, you see a person, whereas most of us see this larger-than-life symbol, a man who saved 1,000 people single-handedly,"
he expounded.
"I should imagine after the past 8 or so years of his pro career that he's only known so many people who treat him like Yagi Toshinori, the man, and not Almighty Simple of Beast,"
he said, his tone thoughtful.
"And again, you don't see it as such a big deal, Shouta, because that's just who you are. That's who you've always been,"
he acknowledged, a soft smile alighting his features.
"That's just one of the many reasons why we love you. You know, you don't give a damn about our quirks or being quirkless. You couldn't care less about how someone looks.
He grinned.
You don't hold grudges. You don't think that someone's past should define their future. You forgive. You encourage. You look for ways to make things better. And that is very rare,"
he told him frankly.
"And I'm not meaning to be cruel here, but look at our family,"
he said. Blinking, the room having quieted, the cafe owner did.
"You look at us, and you see your brothers. There is not a shred of doubt in your mind about that, is there?" "Of course not,"
he replied, his brows furrowing lightly.
"Well, to anyone else, we're kids from the wrong side of the tracks. We're the kinds of people who shouldn't be sat here on this sunny Saturday morning eating delicious food and getting ready for an afternoon out at a theme park free of charge," he quipped. "Unwittingly, you're the person who's made all of this possible for us. Not that I can speak for our latest younger brothers, but that's definitely true for me and the others at the care center,"
he stated.
"And hell, even if Yagi-san didn't notice that you are kind of cute, you know," he added, his brows waggling, "that cat filter video, should it ever hit the internet, will only get more people queuing up at your door wanting a night out with you, you know."
At the ripple of laughter rolling around the room, its presence thoroughly destroying the somber mood which had lightly shadowed them, they began to eat once more, alongside gently teasing him that he and his cuteness had somehow managed to craft a harem full of admirers of all things. Such good kids. The rest of their morning was spent lazily talking, playing with the cats, and welcoming Izuku with Inko, who'd booked the day off work, into the Northern Echo. Takeo and Tadeo, both completely enamored by the boy, had approached the woman, at his request, about signing the freckled child up to a gifted and talented program. If Izuku could prove his genius, it'd be an easy task for the child, he was sure. In front of a panel in Tokyo, then as a member of the quirkless minority, he'd have access to schools, scholarships, trust funds, and grants just like his twins had had. He could also help her with the paperwork if needs be. Oh, Sho, do you really think they'd accept an application when he's this young? Smiling at Inko, the tears lacing her eyes filled with hope and pride, he walked from behind the service bar where he'd be cleaning mugs to approach the four in Dabi's preferred booth, his hand ruffling the oldest twin's hair whilst looking at the wide, starry-eyed 7-year-old who was perched in Takeo's lap.
"I applied for these two when they were 10, but it doesn't hurt to get your foot in the door early, especially since they only review candidates once every 4 years," he told her, his expression fond. "They'll be taking submissions in October, last I checked," he continued.
"But I've never heard of such a thing. I mean, I asked the doctor, I asked him what I could do, and he just said to try and keep him happy if I could," she admitted, her face growing a little ashamed. I hadn't even thought to look." "Mama Midoriya, you gotta stop being so hard on yourself, you know?" The more boisterous of the twins mildly chided. "It's tough being quirkless in this world of flashy powers, and it's not as though many folks believe it's pushing people like us for excellence, right? Why boast and brag about something that only helps 20% of the population?" He upped, arms giving the thought he-up a squeeze. "But this world isn't such a crappy place when you have one very determined brother with a flea in his ear, right, Aizawa?" Nodding, his gaze moving to the woman's, he let out a sigh.
"After growing up with them and seeing kids with quirks getting picked for things they wanted to do, I hit the internet pretty hard, looking for whatever I could to give them a fair shot," he admitted. "The Xavier Institute is an international organization, so once he's registered and accepted, he'll have more of an equal footing," he stated. "These two, sad as it is to say, probably wouldn't have got their places at university without the extra help,"
he furthered, his smile dimming.
Which is ridiculous, given how incredible they both are, isn't it?
Ah, shucks, Aizawa, you don't have to keep spouting the truth like that, you know? The younger of the two preened, his arms hugging Izuku closely once more as the boy looked up to him, his little hands closed into fists.
Could being a part of that institute help me to become a doctor hero, Shoni? Kid, considering how amazing you are,
he returned, his arms folding as he nodded.
I think the only thing that could potentially get in your way is the money that you'd need for courses, and well, the bigwigs at Xavier could definitely support you in that area, I'm sure.
He added whilst Tadeo roped Inko in for a hug, her hands pressing paper napkins to her eyes. Oh, that'd be wonderful, wouldn't it? She gasped. Oh, honey, there'd be nothing to stop you then, would there? At 12 o'clock, right on time, Kaminari Koji was pulling up to the curb in the minibus he'd borrowed from work, his son waving madly at them from the front passenger seat whilst Ochako and Tsuyu waved from the back of the bus.
Okay, guys, let's get moving. Seiji, have you got the sub-bucket towels?
He had, of course, made sure to pack the provisions they'd need for an action-packed afternoon. Yes!
Naoki, Dabi, and Tomura, do you need any help with the picnic campers?
We're good, Captain. Don't worry. Oh, and Spinner is like 2 minutes away.
The decay quirk user, his body mostly hidden in his lightweight hoodie and baggy pants, replied as he soldiered past him with one of the packs of food in his arms, his smile excited even as he tried to hide it.
That's great, he replied. I'll lock up and be right out,
he added whilst walking down the length of the cafe and checking everything over. All of the electricals upstairs had been switched off. The cats, after a full-on morning of playtime, were back in their crates for a well-earned rest, and everything in the kitchen was just as it should be. And so, keys in hand, he switched off the lights, activated the alarm, and locked up the door.
Hey, Shoni! Hey, Shon! Nice shirt!
Waving at Spinner, his smile bright as he ran down the street from where his father, who he similarly waved to, had dropped him off. Shouta couldn't help his chuckle.
You too,
he replied, his eyes landing on the bright green Gamer for Life banner printed across the black top he wore. Then all of them assembled, he hopped into the front of the bus, where Inko was happily chatting with Koji, the pair then grinning and bringing him into the conversation as the bus pulled off.
Next up, Almighty Land, woo!
The oldest blonde shouted joyously, his hand honking the horde.
Dad, you're so embarrassing!
Arriving at the park, their excitement quadrupled.
Hey, look! There's Kacha and Neji!
It had taken no time at all for them to spill out of the minibus, the tots and teens skittering over to the golf buggies sent to collect them, whilst he, Inko, and Koji grabbed the bags and hampers with Mitsuki and the local pros.
Everything sure does smell good in here, shit-chan.
Nemori complimented with a sigh, one of the wicker baskets hugged to her chest.
There are picnic sites dotted all over this place, too, so we can put them under the trees whilst we're safety testing, can't we?
Well, that's a great idea,
he replied, his eyes watching as the Almighty Land staff dished out VIP lanyards to the ecstatic children. The uniformed men and women were even bowing at them, causing the more extroverted tots to preen and the more introverted to blush.
Hello and welcome, honored guests. A particularly puggy woman similarly greeted them. We've been instructed to take your food items to a cool storage area in one of Yagi-sama's favorite scenic spots, and we'll also collect and transport you at a time of agreed convenience when you've decided on a time.
She furthered with a deep bow. Shimmering a look with the cobalt-eyed woman, the pair chuckled and happily handed the baskets over to the grinning men behind her, whilst Oboro and Isashi did the same before high-fiving and skipping like the big kids they were to the empty buggy at the back of the line. Here was an opportunity to sit with the slightly older men and have a little talk, wasn't it?
So,
he began, his form sat between them, both pros having the decency to look sheepish whilst he crossed his arms and dabbed what his care center siblings liked to call the lecture face.
You two seem to have made quite the impression on Seiji and Tadeo, huh?
Watching as they bonked.
He then side-eyed the emerald-eyed blonde, the DJ now peppered with sweat drops.
Isashi,
he began, his mirth very nearly showing.
His favorite food is mirin doriyaki, and his hobbies include playing the drums, basketball, and going to concerts.
What? The other gushed, his face snapping towards him, his worry having evaporated into a kind of shocked joy. You mean you're not, mad at me for swapping numbers with him?
You big dope.
He snickered.
You're one of my dearest friends, and an amazing person besides. He offered, just keep on being that kind of man, and we'll have no problems. And hey, he's 18. He's his own person. He mused. Plus, I can't think of anyone else who I'd rather have him strike up a friendship or maybe something more with. And honestly, you do look pretty cute together.
He acknowledged the sunglass-wearing hero, now wafting at his eyes. Achoo! Knowing I'm your blessing to get to know him better really makes me glad, you know? He prayed before he strangled him in a hug. I'd get that approved! I need to get that on a shirt! He called merrily whilst letting him go. His smile was splendid.
You were always cat that approved, Hisashi.
He told him fondly before looking at a sheepish Oboro, his shoulder nudging him.
And as for you, Lodclad, you could take Tadeo out tomorrow night instead if you like.
He stated, those azure eyes turning to him owlishly.
Not on your life, man.
The sun-kissed pro gasped dramatically, his arm looping his shoulders.
We are going out, and well, even though it'll be just as friends, I really want to take you out, you know? You deserve to be treated, and I want to treat you, he stated assuredly before with a cheeky wink. I'll just have to fly down to Kyoto next week and take Tada-kun out then, won't I?
He sighed happily, his cheeks pinking a little.
Now come on, show me that I'm cat dad approved by giving me some great dating ideas too, okay?
Standing at the park's entrance, his excitement mounting, Yagi Toshinori couldn't help but smile, stealing his features. This had been a great idea, a fantastic idea, and with Marai and his team on standby should an emergency break out, well, he could properly enjoy himself. He could wander around and relax, he could hop onto the rides and shout his heart out, buzz, buzz, buzz. Blinking, his right hand snagging his phone free of his khaki cargo pants back pocket, the number one pro turned away from the sun so that his shadow covered the device's screen, allowing him to see it. Nemori.
Area competition is out of the running, senpai.
The lovely young woman who'd initially devised the dating pool told him, their words causing his brows to rise, a quiet gasp of all leaving him.
Anna, I give you this.
Humming in the back of his throat, the bronze tear watched the screen, his fingers poised to tap whatever was uploading. Kayama Nomori uploaded a GIF.
Oh! Not pressing the pixelated box, he very nearly crushed his phone! What? But there, in the flesh, was Shouta Kaneko brought to life, his beautiful face crowned with cat ears, his hands raised in code-like paws.
Yeah. Shouta-kun, you...
Almost squealing, Toshinori quickly saved the image to his cloud, the neon of his eyes sparkling.
Yagi Toshinori, the moment, you're incredible. Thank you.